All the updates ongoing in that developing situation over in Texas. We move on to another United States-related development where in a sharp escalation of their public feud, US President Donald Trump took aim at tech billionaire Elon Musk, calling him a train wreck. Let's listen in to what Trump had to say.
He's not starting a third party. I think it's ridiculous to start a third party. We have a tremendous success with the Republican Party. The Democrats have lost their way, but it's always been a two-party system. And I think starting a third party just adds to confusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but I think it's...
Trump's outburst comes after Musk announced he was forming a new political party, the America Party, deepening a rift that's been widening over policy and power. Trump claimed Musk had backed him despite knowing he would scrap the electric vehicle mandate, a move Musk now opposes amid falling Tesla shares. The president also defended his decision to withdraw the NASA nomination of Jared Isaacman, a close ally of Elon Musk, citing concerns over conflicts of interests. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent added that while Musk's government-cutting efforts were popular, his company's boards wants him back in the boardroom and not in politics. Musk later said backing a candidate for president is not out of the question, but the focus for the next 12 months is on the House and the Senate. We're once again joined by Spencer Critchley to discuss this in further detail. Spencer, a public feud that's been going on for at least a couple of weeks now, a huge spat of, some would say, the two most powerful people in the world's richest man and the President of the United States. First of all, what does this launch of this new party mean for US politics? Do you see this causing a rift? And given the past actions of independents running in US elections, what will this mean for the future of US politics?
Yes, and of course, it's hard to know who to root for when you have a fight between two bad guys. It makes it particularly confusing. I think that in one way, Trump is right here in that, you know, as you suggest as well, the history of third parties in the United States is not a good one. And instead, they do tend to play a spoiler role. The Democrats have suffered from this several times in the past, where independent candidates have siphoned off just enough votes to split the Democratic vote and lead to a loss to the Republican candidate that year. Ralph Nader was notorious for this, and more recently, the Green Party does this every cycle. They mount a candidate who has no hope, but who siphons off Democratic votes.
Do you see the opposite happening here, Spencer? There is a rift appearing in the Republican Party, mainly over the issues of foreign policy in regards to the bombing of Iran, and also now we've seen most recently the voting in the big, beautiful bill passing. What are your thoughts on the future? And Elon Musk has mentioned those crucial midterms which are coming up in the most recent times.
Yeah, and actually I have to say, although I think, you know, Elon Musk's understanding of politics and government in general is abysmal and in many ways childish, actually, he is onto something in his latest comments when he talks about focusing on just 2 or 3 Senate races and maybe 2 or 3 House races. That's a lot smarter than thinking you're going to launch a major national party that's going to compete across all of the major offices in the House and Senate and for the presidency. And that could give him a great deal of leverage and possibly force Republicans to negotiate with him. He may not end up winning any seats in the end, but I think he could certainly spook them into perhaps giving him some concessions where he wants them.
Yes, thank you very much, Spencer. We now move on to some more information where US President Donald Trump has signed off on a series of take it or leave it tariff letters to 12 countries. The letters, which outline specific tariff rates on exports to the United States, will be formally delivered starting at 12 noon on Monday Eastern Time, according to a statement Trump posted on Truth Social. The president did not name the countries involved, but said each one faces different tariff levels, some as high as 70%, starting on August the 1st. This move follows Trump's announcement back in April of a base 10% tariff, with the possibility of higher rates for select countries. While those rates were temporarily suspended for negotiations, that 90-day window ends on July the 9th. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick confirmed that the tariffs will officially take effect at the start of August, adding that Trump is setting the rates and deals right now. So far, only Britain and Vietnam have successfully struck deals. The UK locking in a 10% rate with exemptions for auto and aerospace parts, while Vietnam saw tariffs slashed to 20%. Talks with India and the European Union, however, have stalled. EU diplomats say a breakthrough seems unlikely before the deadline. Trump said Friday that he prefers this letter-based approach over lengthy negotiations, calling it much easier than deal-making with multiple nations. The shift in strategy marks a major escalation in Trump's trade policy, and his administration continues to rewrite global trade rules in favor of American interests. We're once again joined by Spencer Critchley. Spencer, with tariffs as high as 70% now, we're unsure who they're affecting. What impact could this have on global supply chains? Some doubted that Donald Trump would actually reinforce these tariffs, which he held up on his big board in that White House Rose Garden back in April. What is the effect that this is going to have on the global economy if these tariffs truly come into effect?
Well, I want to be careful not to stray too far outside my lane. I'm not an economist, but I can offer some opinions here. And I wish I could find something positive to say about Mr. Trump and his administration. It's my approach generally to try to encourage people not to demonize the opposition and to not assume everything they do is bad, and to try to at least look at things from their perspective. But it's extremely difficult with a government led by Donald Trump. I don't think you can find any sense in this policy. His former national security advisor, John Bolton, was on one of the major Sunday shows today and described Trump's decision-making, and this is based on his close observation of it, as like just an archipelago of countless dots. And he says other people can try to connect those dots, but he doesn't believe even Trump can. And I think that's what we see with his trade policy. He seems to think he's being effective by raising taxes on Americans and calling them tariffs on other countries. But this, of course, is just a tax on American consumers and American manufacturers. And the end result of this cannot be good. It's going to be inflationary in the United States. There's no way that this could lead to the repatriation of manufacturing as he fantasizes about on any kind of timescale that would make any kind of sense. He's imposing these tariffs on countries that we can't possibly fix the trade deficit with in a way that would be advantageous to us. For example, a country like Vietnam that tends to send lots of clothing to the United States. The United States doesn't want to get back into the business of manufacturing clothing and textiles. So none of this makes any sense. And even this latest story that sending letters to people is easier than negotiating is just absurd on its face. I mean, he reverses himself so readily and so fantastically. It's something like Alice in Wonderland. He's supposed to be the great deal maker. This was never true. He had never earned that reputation. Now all of a sudden deal making is a waste of time, and it's far better to just send people letters announcing the tariff rate you're going to insist they pay.
Yes, Spencer. We have another tariff-related development coming.